In the earlier chapters, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam varta evacha karmani. It means, oh Arjuna, I have no duty whatsoever in all the three worlds or in all the three times. But yet I continue to work and perform whatever is given to me, though I have nothing to achieve and there is nothing that I have already not achieved. Yet I do work. For what sake? He says, Yadyada tarati shreshtaha tat tad deve tarojanaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Whatever example noble people set in the society, all the others follow those examples. So for the sake of setting a good example for others to follow, I have to act in this world, though there is nothing that I need to attain and there is nothing that I have already not attained. I have no duty, yet I act in this world, is what Lord Krishna says. Now it's so perfect for any avatar, for any divine being, for any Mahatma. This is the way of life. They don't do anything for the sake of gaining or losing things. There is nothing that they need to gain, there is nothing that they can lose. They are Purnamada Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamuddache. They are complete, they are perfect as they are. Yet they take a body, come to the world and perform certain actions so that they can set a good example for the others to follow. Bhagavad Gita is a teacher-student relationship, we all know by now. For the first time, Arjuna became a student of Krishna. So far he was only a cousin, a friend, a playmate and things like that. He never saw Krishna from the eyes of a student. And so far Krishna also never took the role of a teacher upon himself. He also taught or treated Arjuna the way Arjuna treated him, like a friend. For the first time Arjuna surrenders. He says, I am confused about my duty. What am I supposed to do? Please guide me. And when he surrenders as a Shishya, Shishyasteham Shadi Mahaprapanna. I am surrendering to you as your Shishya. Please teach me what is right. Sammuda Cheta, I am confused about my duty. Then Lord Shri Krishna took the role of a guru and teaches. Tomorrow is Ashadi Ekadashi, another very auspicious occasion for the whole of the world and especially in India, Maharashtra, where all the Varkaris will walk all the way to Pandharpura to see their Lord Vittala and have darshan, and they'll walk all the way chanting, singing the glory of the Lord, and they will embrace, hug each other in the spirit that all are divine. That was the idea of Varkari Sampradaya, and even today that happens. And that is the beauty of these festivals. They remind us again and again that the Lord resides in all. And we are all nothing but manifestations of the same divinity. Externally different, but internally same. Every single festival in India reminds us that. And Guru Purnima is one of the most important and significant festivals in our country. Because it is only a Guru who can truly take us to our Guri or the goal. Everybody else, Acharyas are there are Shikshaks are there are other kinds of teachers are there. But they are those who may or may not have realized the knowledge. A guru is somebody who has realized the knowledge, so he is an authority. And he exactly knows the pulse of the student and he can customize the teachings to the needs of the student because he knows his student in and out. So there is no one straitjacket approach when it comes to a guru. He has a different plan, different approach, different methodology for every student. And by now most of you would have figured that out here. So Krishna is a wonderful guru. And Arjuna is also a wonderful disciple. See, 9 chapters into Bhagavad Gita, so many questions, so many answers. Arjuna is intensely listening to whatever Krishna has to say. And how beautifully Krishna is teaching Arjuna. He teaches him first about his duty as an individual. Whole Karma Siddhantas, the principle of action, is taught in the earlier chapters. Then he slowly takes him to Bhakti side, the Upasana side. How to steady one's mind and for what sake one should do duties in the world. This is the second part of Bhagavad Gita. And the last 3 chapters will be only about the ultimate knowledge, ultimate supreme knowledge, ultimate truth that we all are. In Chandogya Upanishad, Shvetaketu is one disciple and his father Uddalaka is a guru. However, Uddalaka knows that my son would not learn under me much because children don't think much of their parents and parents' wisdom. So even then it was the same, even now it is almost mostly the same. So Uddalaka sends this Shvetaketu, quite a fellow, to another rishi to learn. And Shvetaketu learns there, comes back after whatever 12 years, and he reaches his home to his father, and father asks, "What have you learned?" And he explains, "I learned these Shastras, Vedas and everything." But father asked, "Have you learned that knowing which nothing else needs to be known?" And Shvetaketu says, "This is something that was not taught to me, it is out of syllabus." He said, "No, this is all that you should have learnt in the first place. Leaving that, you're busy learning everything else." And then he teaches him about Atman, about Brahman, and he gives him one Mahavakya comes from Chandogya Upanishad, that is Tattvamasi. He says, "Tattvamasi Shvetaketu, you are that." What? The divine. You are none other than divine. He explains him using the example of clay pots and clay. Mrittika ityeva satyam. He said, the clay alone is the reality. All pots are just vikaras, different manifestations, different forms and shapes. But truth is, all pots are ultimately clay. Likewise, we are all divine in the final analysis. We may look different, behave differently because of the other aspects of our mind and intellect and things like that, which are superimposed on ourself, like the pictures are superimposed on a screen through a projector. So this is the way it is. So if you look at Tat, Tvam, Asi, the three aspects, Tat, you, Tvam is you, Tat is that, Asi means is. You are that, that is the meaning of it. So if you look at Bhagavad Gita, the first part is all about Tvam, who you have to be. In the world, when you have to perform your actions, how should you perform your actions? So he teaches him the basic principle. So that Tvam. Then second part of the Bhagavad Gita is about Tat. What is that principle that you must know? That divine principle. And the last part of Bhagavad Gita is Asi, the idea of existence as the divine, as supreme. So slowly Krishna is taking Arjuna from the basic principles of action and how one should perform action, because action is basic, nobody can escape action, to what kind of mental disposition one should have while performing action. So slowly is teaching him perform actions for the sake of pleasing the divinity within. See, when we say bhakti is loosely translated as devotion to a particular god, a name or a form. But Shankaracharya teaches that bhakti is not that. Bhakti is that dedication towards finding who you are, that intensity of yearning to know your truth. All the aspects of all the sadhanas are good. Bhakti is the best, he says. Moksha karana samagriyam bhakti reva gariyasi. But he says, what is bhakti? Bhakti is not dancing around a statue all day. And then when we are in trouble, going and pleading for mercy and favors. And when things go wrong, we lose faith in that form and name and then go and catch hold of another faith, another name, another form. That is not bhakti. It is swaswarupa anusandhanam bhakti ityabhidiyate. Shankaracharya says, to search who you truly are, to find out who you truly are, that is bhakti, he says. So how that bhakti has to be understood in the context of Bhagavad Gita now. See, unfortunately, most of the Bhagavad Gita commentators or people who teach, they teach it from Dvaita Bhava. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And we must be devoted to Krishna. And once we die, we will reach Krishna's abode and stay with him forever. That is the concept of most of the Dvaita Bhakti, the duality Bhakti people. Whereas we are all followers of Advaita Bhakti, where the Lord and you are not different from each other. One is an object, another is reflection. To that extent, we are same. So that is the concept with which we should look at Bhagavad Gita. So when we study the 9th chapter, Vidya Yoga, where Krishna is telling Arjuna, "Hey, oh Arjuna, you are a nice fellow. You are not jealous of me. You don't find faults with me. Anasuya you are. And therefore I am teaching you the highest of the wisdom, Jnana, Vijnana Sahitam." He says, Vijnana Sahitam means I am teaching you how it has to be also realized. What is to be realized and how is to be realized. Both I am going to teach you about. And why am I teaching you? Because once you know this, moksha se ashubhat, you are freed from all that is which inauspicious, all that which is inauspicious is not going to touch you anymore. And we discussed what is the most inauspicious thing that can happen to us, that we believe that we are just this body, which needs to be pleased, which needs to be taken care of, which needs to be pampered. And we are all the time running around, feeding and taking care of this body and maintaining and pleasing this body and the senses and the mind. So if you think that's all you are, that's the most inauspicious thing. That is the reason for all the problems in the world, Deha Bhava. So here is Krishna teaching Arjuna, you are more than that. And he calls this knowledge as Raja Vidya, supreme most, royal knowledge. It's not an ordinary knowledge. Lot of kinds of knowledge is there. We know Dve Vidya is there. One is the lower knowledge, material knowledge, like you study various subjects. And then there are higher knowledge. This higher knowledge is Raja Vidya, the supreme most. And Raja Guhyam, it's an ultimate secret. It's not to be told to anyone just like that. Why is he telling Arjuna? Because Arjuna is here Anasuya. He has no ego. He has no problem with Krishna's teachings. He is not finding faults where there are none. Otherwise, most of the people with idle curiosity, they only come to test the teacher, how much the teacher knows. They keep asking unwanted questions. There are some of these students who have this sadistic pleasure of troubling their teachers in the class. So such children, you are not one of them. You are a sincere student. Therefore, I am teaching you. And he says, what kind of knowledge is this? This can be realized then and there. Pratyakshavagam gamam. It's not something to be realized after you die or after you reach somewhere. Here and now, this is realizable. Therefore, it is very important that you know this. And it is not even tough, susukham. It is very easy. It is dharmyam. This is what will put you on the path of righteousness. This is what will teach you how you should live your life. Therefore, it is important. And kartum avyayam, the best part of this knowledge is that once you realize it, you never forget it. But this is the knowledge, once you make it your own, you can never forget it. What a wonderful knowledge this is. This is the supreme most, still it is the easiest, it is easily realizable, and once you learn it, you never forget it. So wonderful knowledge, and that's why Krishna is very keen. Look at the compassion of Krishna for Arjuna, love for Arjuna. He wants to teach him all these. I wonder why he did not teach him for 89 years of his life. Probably the time was not right, They say when the time is right, the Guru appears. When Shishya is ready, Guru appears. So I think Arjuna was ready now. All his life, Arjuna was running behind, collecting weapons to fight the war and kill all his cousins. But here is when the actual war happens, Arjuna is confused. So this is the situation that Lord creates in our lives because he wants to give us the higher knowledge. That's why I always tell when troubles come, think of it as a reminder from the Lord. I think we are not thinking of the Lord enough. So he wants us to be remembering him and he sends some troubles our way. So Arjuna's trouble is how to fight the war. Why should he fight the war? He's confused and Krishna is teaching. And he also says very clearly, this knowledge is not to be attained by the ashraddha danas. Those who have no sincerity, no faith, they need not, even if it's taught to them, they will not attain anything out of it. And therefore it's to be taught only to people with shraddha. You people are people with shraddha, so I am also teaching you this knowledge. Because once you know this knowledge, you don't have to come back to this cycle of birth and death. You're redeemed from it once for all. So that is why this knowledge is very important, but it is not for the insincere and atheists who don't even believe God exists. For them, God does not exist. They have to go through the cycles. And then he gives one of the most complicated shlokas that we have heard in Bhagavad Gita so far. And we all discussed that. I don't know how many of you caught snakes after the discourse. No, rope and the snake. So snake is in the rope? Yes, if you imagine it so. Is the rope in the snake? Yes, of course, because rope is the reason why you see the snake in the first place. Is rope the snake? No. Is snake the rope? No. So this is the confusion of the God and world. Is world in God? Yes. Is God in the world? Yes. Is God the world? No. Is world the God? No. Because world is only an imagination. That is how we conclude in our Vedanta. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. At the same time, Jiva Brahma Ivanapara. At the same time, the Jiva in you is none other than the same Brahma. Like the TV, the person in the TV right now you're watching is the same as me sitting here. But yet it is not me. Because it is only a projection. But you can't touch that projection. You can't experience it. But you can see it. In a way, you can experience it as an illusion. So that is the idea that Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. But Jivo Brahmaiva na paraha. The reflection is also me only, not different from me, but it is not me still. This is the basic understanding of Vedantic truths. I think that's quite clear to everybody. I need to go over again the rope and snake issue. No, I don't have to. So, having done that, we move on to the other part. He says, I am like the space, and the whole world is like the wind that exists within the space, the air. It can't transcend the space. Everything exists within it. Purusha Suktam says, Atyatishtat Dashangulam. The Purusha, the great supreme divine being, exceeds the entire creation by a length of 10 fingers. It is just a way to say that everything is encompassed within that Lord. And that supreme consciousness is what is the basis of everything that we experience. And he says, ultimately, all the beings are born out of me from that supreme consciousness, and everything merges back in that. But in between, whatever happens, it is driven by their own prakriti. Prakriti means those gunas. We heard about those gunas, Rajo guna, Tamo guna, Sattva guna, the serene and the pious feelings, and excitement and passion, and laziness and inertia. These are the three kinds of gunas that we experience. And we are a mix of all. Nobody can say, I have no Tamo guna, then they won't get sleep also. Because inertia is necessary at times to rest. Body needs rest. God has created. So nothing is bad. But everything is good in limitations. That's why Yukta Ahara Viharasya, we learned that. Yoga means everything within limits, no excesses. So that is the idea, that while the world goes on doing its own things based on the gunas, the Lord remains unaffected. Like today it's raining, but has the space become wet? Tomorrow it becomes sunny. Has the space become dry? No, space. I'm not talking about the atmosphere. I'm talking about the space in which the atmosphere exists. The whole atmosphere might become humid, or it may become hot and things like that. But the space, which is the subtle basis of everything, in which everything exists, it's not getting affected. When the sunlight falls on a temple, it's not getting purified because it is now illuminating a temple. Similarly, if a sunlight falls on a, let's say, a pile of garbage, it is not getting dirty because it has illuminated the garbage. It is same, whether it falls on a sinner or a saint, good, bad, ugly, it is untouched by any of these things. That is the idea. When our eyes see colors, eyes are not getting colored. I see pink, my eyes don't become pink. I see yellow, my eyes don't become yellow. My vision, what I mean to say. So Lord is like that, that consciousness with which we experience everything. For those who are interested in further details of this, look into Drigadrishya Viveka. That's one of the wonderful compositions of Vidyaranya Swami, who was one of the Sringeri Sharada Peetham Jagadguru at some point in time. And he also founded the great Vijayanagara Empire to two of his disciples, Hakka Bukka, as they say. So he wrote Drigadrishya Viveka, and this is very simple. What is seen and who is the seer? That is the concept. If objects are the seen, eyes are the seer. If eyes are the seen, mind is the seer. If mind is the seen, witness is the seer, but there is nobody who sees the witness. This is the concept. You go one level below, inside. So this is the idea that in his control only everything is. The consciousness helps us experience sadness, but consciousness does not become sad. Consciousness helps us experience happiness, but it does not become happy too. So everything is happening in that, because of that, but it is not affected by anything. So he very clearly says, I am not affected by anything. Udasinavat asinam. I stay as a witness to the whole scene, and I do not get affected. For example, if there is a Mahabharata war playing on the screen, and bloodshed happens, the screen does not get filled with blood. It doesn't become red. Similarly, if there is a rain happening on the screen in the movie, the screen is not going to become wet. After the movie, if somebody wants to go and touch and check whether the screen is wet, it's not going to be so. So that is the idea, that is the concept, that this ultimate self is not tainted by any of the changes that are happening in it. So everything happens within it, it is untouched. Now, he went on to say after that those people who are too body conscious, who are too full of body consciousness, they think only this body is real. When they see me also in a body, they think I am also one of them. They are unable to understand and comprehend my true nature, which is, I am the Lord of everything. I am the reason why everything exists. But I also take upon myself a body and come in between human beings. And as it was said, if Lord comes with 4 hands and the Shankha Chakra, Gada, Padmam, First thing that will happen is somebody will capture him and put him in a cage and charge tickets to have darshan. Even otherwise they are charging. That's a different story. But if Lord appears, they'll think he's some new creature that has come, and they will simply make a business out of him. So he comes just as other human beings, behaves like one, so that, as it is said, God's descent is for man's ascent. So that we get inspired by such a person, such a life, and we also strive to reach those heights. That is the idea why this happens. So those who are too attached to their body, they think Lord is also just a body. And we were in Colombia, and in some small restaurant we had some free time. So David and Jenny were treating me on some nice food. I don't know what it was, I forgot. But that time we were discussing, and I told, and David and I were going on, and I was telling, see, everybody says Sai Baba is God, but I say God is Sai Baba. And David said, that's the same. Sai Baba is God. I told, no, it's not the same. It's not the same. Both are equal, yes, but they are not the same. God is Sai Baba is the real truth. Sai Baba is God is also true. But the first thing that happened was God always existed, and continues to exist, and will continue to exist. All other names and forms come and go, including Sai Baba. They all come and go. Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, Allah all came to this land. All of them had the message of love, to love thy fellow man. So says Baba, Satya Sai Baba. Satya Sai Baba, my Lord. That's what we sing, but hardly contemplate on what we sing. So we had an argument. I said that no, this is how we have to look. Most of the people get enamored, even attached to the names and forms so much that now they become almost radical, fanatics, that this God and this way alone is the way. No, I don't mind accepting every faith as long as they don't insist that that is the only way to the truth. There are many ways, so our scriptures are so good. Ekam sat vipraha bahudha vadanti. There is only one truth spoken by many people in different ways. Now that is very acceptable. That is very inclusive. If you say this is the only way and no other way is right, then you are not being correct. So Sanatana Dharma's beauty is that. It tells you, even Krishna says, no, you believe and worship any form. Everything is me only at the end. I give you faith in that form and name because you want to worship, and through that you will reach me only at the end. Through longer routes or shorter routes, through winding routes or straight routes, ultimately you will come to me only. So to that extent, Sanatana Dharma is very beautiful and clear. So that is why I say, oh, avajananti mam Buddha, fools think I am this name, I am this form, I am this body, and I am gone and I come. But actually the truth is I just manifest myself through my Maya Shakti, but I am the consciousness only. That is why I say Bhuta Maheshwaram, I am the Lord of all the beings. It means He transcends all the beings. He is supreme. Then He says all those who don't understand this, whatever they do, Moga Asha, Moga Karmana, Moga Jnana, everything is Vichetasaha. For those people who have this crooked mind or distracted mind or the mind that does not think right, all their efforts in the life is all waste. Because they spend the whole life thinking this way, and at the end, whenever in the final moment they realize it's not true, it will be such a waste, they'll be so disappointed. So that is the idea. He tells most of the people, such people are Rakshasim, they are very demonic in their nature. They don't mind hurting others for their sake. They are Asurim in nature, they enjoy, revel in their senses, they can't think beyond. And Prakriti Mohinim, they are deluded by their own nature, the Rajas or Tamas or whatever. Even Sattva Bhava is also dangerous. Some people who think they are too good, they are also very dangerous. In fact, they are very, very dangerous. Because nobody can tell them that they have to change. They think we are better than everybody else. We do more service. We go to satsangs. We read all kinds of books. And that ahankara is far dangerous. So Mohini, Prakriti Mohini means that also can be Mohini. I know how God should be. I have read it in the scriptures. If God is any other way, we are not going to accept it. God is in trouble. He has to fit into the structure of such a great Pandit, which is becoming danger. Because God can come anytime. See, on top of this auditorium, there are 10 types of gods. Can you see all that, children? What all the forms of God is? Matsya, fish, kurma, tortoise, varaha, so to call boar, Narahari, half man, half lion, and Vamana, dwarf, Matsya, kurma, varaha, Narahari, Vamana, Parshurama, Rama, Krishna, Balarama, Kalki avatar. Now children will catch me. Where is this Kalki avatar? Somebody told me. Kali Yuga is ending. Where is the Kalki avatar? Are you the Kalki avatar? They keep asking me this question. One boy is very smart. He said, if Kalki avatar is to come in Kali Yuga, why is he coming on horse? Why is he not coming in car or something like that? Because why would he need a horse? And that's a very genuine question, right? Why would he need a horse to come? But truth is that these are just 10 representation. Actually, if you go by the Puranas, hundreds of avatars have been described. And Shiva's avatars are one full list. Vishnu's avatars are another full list. In the popular lore, this is how it has been represented. Don't go too much by its. Again, as I said, these are all forms and names. The essence is the same. Go for the essence. In Hindi they say, Aam khao, gutli mat gino, means eat your mango, don't count the seeds in it. Enjoy your mango, enjoy the essence. Don't go behind these details and get stuck. Having said that, all these people's efforts in the life goes waste because they are running behind an image. They are running behind illusions. Like they're trying to catch the shadow and not the object. So that's where they get deluded, all their efforts become a big waste. But the good people, the Mahatmana, who are of noble nature, they take refuge in the divine qualities. And they remember me continuously, bhajante, ananya manaso. They continuously remember me. In every little thing they remember me only. If something goes right, oh thank you Lord for making it right. Something goes wrong, thank you Lord for not making it worse. It is still okay. So in both the things their attitude is positive. See, that is the right kind of Daivi Prakriti. And they know that I am the beginning of all the creation. I am the source of it all. They know me, otherwise they cannot know. And what do? Once they know this? Satatam kirtayantom. Constantly they glorify me in their thought, word and action. Glorification does not mean singing and speaking. It is about thought, word and deed. They behave in a way that will please the Lord. And yatantascha dhranavrataha. They always are putting efforts on this path. They are not disappointed by not getting immediate results. They are continuously putting efforts. Dhranavrataha, because they are determined to be devoted to this idea of Supreme Lord and to realize that self. They never give up. That's why I said, don't ever give up. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But don't stop. That is my way. Even our projects are like that. If we can't do it fast, we do it slow. If we can't do it slow, we'll do it very slow. But we don't stop. So, Dhrinavrataha, determination, perseverance is a great spiritual quality which is also useful in the worldly parlance. And what else they do? Namastasyantascha. They are surrendered to me. They bow down to me. It means they don't have any ego. What is ego? I and mine is ego. Only I is not ego. I comes with a twin, mine. So you cannot get rid of I and mine and have mine, or you cannot get rid of mine and have I. The moment it goes, both go. So I and mine, that is one. Our Prime Minister was giving a speech. The whole world runs on this thing. Mera kya, mujhe kya. What is in it for me? If there is nothing, then why should I bother about it? That is the way people live in the world. So those are I and mine type. But these people are surrendered and no ego, no attachments. Absolutely free. And bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Remember me, worship me at all times. Not on Monday and forget on Tuesday and then again remember on Wednesday and things like that. Especially when troubles come, Sankatavaste, Venkataramana, that's what they say. When troubles come, you run towards God. These people remember me throughout, good, bad. Kunti is the best example. Throughout her life, she remembered Krishna in good times and bad times. In fact, towards the end, when Krishna asked Mother Kunti, you have suffered so much in your life, ask some boon from me. And Kunti says, give me more problems. And he says, what kind of boon is that? He says, this is the boon I want because whenever we have problems, we remember you. When we don't have any problems, we tend to forget you. I rather have problems and remember you. Dukh mein sumiran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi. Kabir Das says. Everybody remembers God in bad times. In good times, they forget. Jo sukh mein sumiran kare, dukh kahe ko hoy. If you remember God in good times, why will you have bad times at all? This is what Kabir Das says. But our mind is like that, very selfish, very opportunistic, very transactional, business-like. It wants things from God, it runs behind God. When it gets it, it forgets it. This is what he says, and then he says, different people try to reach me in different ways, this supreme knowledge. Jnana yagyena chapyanya yajanto mam upasate. Some people are who? These are the people who continuously glorify me, put efforts with determination, they surrender to me, and they are always remembering me. That is one kind of people. Another kind of people, jnana yagyena cha api anye. They worship me by constantly meditating on the truth. Jnana. Aham brahmasmi, aham brahma, sarvam brahma, prajnana brahma. They remember these truths and continuously read or learn about this truth from gurus and different jnanis, and that is how they worship me. Like those who go to Himalayas and sit in the caves and meditate on the Supreme. So those are also there. They also worship me. Ekatvena prataktvena bahuda vishvatomukam. In different ways people worship me, Krishna is telling. Some worship me as the one and the only. Some worship me as the many. But I am okay with all. Like we say, what are we talking about is Advaita. That is Ekatvena. Bahut means Dvaita or Vishishta Dvaita. They worship me in all the ways. I am okay with everything as long as they are continuously progressing towards this spiritual goal. And how easy it is for a jnani. See, a jnani has no problem whether it is Dvaita, Advaita, Vishishta Dvaita. For him everything is same. Water, ice is the same. If ice melts becomes water is the same. Water freezes becomes ice is the same. He is not going to, or the wave and the ocean and the froth. This example is this given in our scriptures. This is water only in different forms. So he has no problem with this. Like Hanuman. What did he say? Deha buddhyatu dasoham. When I think I am the body, I am your servant. Jiva buddhya tadamshakaha. When I think I am the jiva, spark of you, I am a part and parcel of you. Atma buddhya tvamevaham. When I think I am the Atman, I am and you are one. Iti me nishchalamatihi. This is my firm conviction. So for a jnani, there is no problem in whichever way you worship. These ajnanis who go on fighting and arguing about superiority of one path over the other, one way over the other. And he says, but the truth is that whatever you try to do to reach me, whether you do yajna, tapa, dana, jnana, bhakti, upasana, ultimately all this is for my sake, and I only motivate you to do all these things. I am the reason why all this happens. I am the receiver of all the worship in whichever way you do. And what does he say? Aham kruturaham yajna svada aham aushadam mantro aham ahamevajyam aham agnim aham hutam. He says, I am only everything. The people who do fire rituals, karma kandis, what they do, they get on fire altar, they collect all kinds of herbs, and then they put it into the fire, they put a lot of ghee in it, and then they worship and please the Lord that way. Everything is me. We chant, Brahmarpadam, Brahmahavi, Brahmagano, Brahmanautam, same concept. I am only the ritual. I am only the fire and the whatever the procedure with which you do this yajna. I am only the very act of putting things inside. I am only the things that you put inside. I am only the mantra which you chant. I am only the ajyam, the worship. I am only the ghee. And Agni also I am. And I am only the hutam. Whatever the act of putting, everything is me. What he is trying to say, see me in everything. Don't differentiate me and make it different from you. In every act, in every thought, in every deed, see me only. If I was not there within you, energizing you, can you perform this yajna? If I was not shining like the sun, do you think all these plants would have grown for you to put into the yajna kunda? If I was not there in the first place, what could have been there? Nothing else would have been there. So all these acts of worship would not have been possible without me. See me in everything, that is the idea. And he says, Pita aham asya jagato mata dhata pitamaha. I am the father of the whole world. Then you say, your father, then who is the mother? I am only the mother, he says. Oh, but who is your father? I am only my father also, pitamaha. I am only the grandfather. What he is trying to say, I am everything. From me only everything has come out. So don't you think of me as anything different from that. Beautiful shloka in Mundakopanishad comes about creation. He says, Yatha urnanabhi sujite grunatecha. Like the spider, plenty of them in the hostel. How they spit out, they pull out their own secretions, and then they make a web out of it and live in it and catch an insect or two. And when they are bored, they move on to the next room and build another web over there. They swallow it all back. Like that, everything comes out of the Lord. See, there are two ways creation happens. One is called nimitta karana and upadana karana. Nimitta means the instrument or the reason, the person who does it. And upadana is the material also with which it is being made. Both are Lord only. That is how our scriptures say. The material for building a web also has come out from the spider only. And who built it? Spider only. Who lives in it? Spider only. And who swallows it back? Spider only. Beautiful shloka. Yatha prithivya moshadaya sambhavanti. How naturally plants grow out of soil. Yatha kesha purushat kesha lomai, like the hair grows on our skin. Tatha aksharat sambhavatihi vishwam, it says. That is how from the imperishable, this perishable world has come into existence. Wonderful example. That is what he is saying. I am only everything, see me in all. Vedyam, Pavitram, Omkaram, Riksam, Yujurevacha. All the Omkara, all the Vedas, everything is me only, me only. There is nothing other than me. See me in everything is the idea. Gatir Bharta, Prabhu Sakshi, Nivasa, Sharanam, Suhrat. Beautiful shlokas. Gatihi, I am the ultimate destiny for all. All rivers, Akashat Paditoyam, Sagaram Pratigachati. All the drops from the sky have to reach the ocean someday. As I said, from the routes that are longer or shorter, turning, twisting or straight, everybody has to reach the divine at the end. So we are all on a journey. The question is how soon? Whoever puts more efforts and stays focused reaches faster. Like the hare and the tortoise story is there, right? The tortoise is slowly walking, but it's reaching destination. This rabbit gets distracted, sleeps off halfway. So that is the story of our lives. Our spiritual progress is like that. That's why it's a slow and steady. Shanaihe, shanaihe. Slowly, slowly you do. Don't try to become jnani next morning. Many children, today Swami told, Atma Jnana is so easy to attain. Anytime it is realizable, I'm going to sit now for meditation. In 10 minutes it should come. Somewhere I read the joke, oh, inner peace, come. I don't have all day. No, this is our meditation methods. Sit down and expect peace to come in 10 minutes. So Gatir, I am the destiny of all. Bharta, I am the sustainer, nourisher of everybody. Because of me, see, we are sitting here, all that lunch we have eaten, who is digesting within us? We are not putting any extra effort. In fact, we are breathing. Do we even realize that we are breathing? We are putting any effort? No. Our heart is beating from the moment we are born till the end. Not for a second it stops. It goes on working. Our blood flows. Everything happens automatically. Do you think it's all automatic? No. There is this consciousness, there is this prana shakti which makes it happen. Prano hi esha sarva bhutair vibhati. Everything is that prana. And that prana is nothing but the Lord, the consciousness. So that is the idea. Sakshi, I am the Prabhu and the Sakshi. I am the Lord of everything. I am the witness also. I own everything. Many people come and say to me, Swami, this is yours, we are giving it to you. Right attitude. It was in our custody, now it's going back to you. Right attitude. But those who do not understand this, that I am the Lord, what will they do? We are giving you. Now that ego comes with it. Sense of doership comes there, which is not a good offering. Many times I have refused offerings. Many times people forcibly send things, and you ask this boy, they'll be lying in one corner till one day I decide to give it away to somebody. Because it's not being given with pure feelings. No, it belongs to you. It was with us, now it is with you. That's the feeling I love to accept. Otherwise, Krishna was there, he went to Duryodhana's place, to negotiate, to compromise, war negotiation. What happened? This Duryodhana, in fact, he was so particular that what should happen. He tried to bind Krishna only, to imprison him. And anyway, after all that, he says, come and stay in my palace. Dhritarashtra says, come to my palace. Bhishma says, come to my palace. He goes nowhere. Where does he go? Goes to Vidura's hut. And what does he eat there? Bananas. And that Vidura is so lost in devotion that he is feeding him the peels and throwing the fruit out of the window. And Krishna is eating that peel out of devotion. That is also going to come now. And he says, I am the Nivasa, I am the resting place, final resting place for all. Sharanam, I am the refuge, ultimate refuge for everybody, the sinner or a saint, I am the refuge. Suhrut, I am a good friend, good-hearted friend. A friend in need is friend indeed. He is the friend who will be always there when we need him. That is why he is Suhrut. Prabhava, Pralaya, Sthanam, I am the beginning and the end, the cause of the beginning of things and the end of things. Sthanam, I am also the very foundation on which everything rests. Then Nidanam, Bijam, I am the rest in everything. I am the Bijam Avyam, I am the beginning. Why is Krishna going on glorifying that supreme Godhood? Last time I mentioned, unless we know the value of something, we don't develop respect and love for it. When we know who this person is, what is his glory, then we develop respect and love. So first time Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, see who am I, who I truly am. Know that, so that you develop that respect. That's why I keep telling our teachers, you have to help children develop a taste for God. They have taste for the world, but they don't have taste for God. How do we develop taste for God? When you tell them about glory of God, stories of God, what God does, how God is, how compassionate, loving, kind. He is the friend, He is the mother, He is the father, He is the grandfather also in this case. He is everything to us. When we go on telling children like this, they will try it out. They will pray, then they will have some experiences. That will further cement their faith and love. So to develop love for something, we must tell the qualities of that thing to the person. Otherwise, like a monkey holding a diamond in his hand, it won't know what it is meant for. So we have to help children, help devotees understand who God truly is and what is the role of God in our lives. When we do that, then they develop love. So just to make devotees develop more love for the supreme idea of Godhood, Krishna is going on saying things out of compassion. Again he continues, tapamiham varsham nigraham utsrujami cha amrutam chaiva mrityuscha sat atsachaham Arjuna. Beautiful. He says, both pairs of opposites, I only am. If you say this, the screen is not you, Krishna says, no, that is also me, because the very screen is made of me, not just the reflection. The screen itself is made of me. Because I am the material cause, I am the instrumental cause, I am both. So therefore it is also made of me. And he says, tapami aham, all the tapas that we do. Also, tapa means heat, and varsha, rain. Everything is me. Whatever happens around you in the nature also is me. Utsujami nigrahami. I only make it come out, I only restrain it. So if you have too much rain, you know who is controlling, who has the button. And if it's no rain, who is doing it also you know. It's all under the same great divine power. Amrutam chaiva mrityuscha. I am only the immortality, I am only death also. That's why I say don't run away from death. See God in death also. Why? What is God trying to do? He's trying to, like if your body is too old and it's too bad, suppose your clothes get torn, what do you go and tell your parents? I like these clothes, I'll go on wearing it. No, you say, these clothes are torn, can you give me a new pair? Shoes are torn, can you give me a new pair of shoes? Or a pencil or a pen is broken, can I get a new pencil or a pen? Don't we ask for new things when the old things wear out? Same thing is death. Bodies are worn out, no more useful. We request God, I have still work to do, I have to continue, so please give me another body. It's as simple as that. Vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya. That is the idea of our scriptures. It removes the fear of death. Why? God says, see me in death also. I'll be there to receive you and take you with me. Itna to karna Swami jab pran tan se nikle. Pitambari kasi ho, chavi man mein wo basi ho. Hoto pe bas hasi ho. This is the prayer of a devotee. Be there when I am about to leave this body. Come to receive me with a smile. What a beautiful thought. So I am in death also, because destruction is important. If destruction does not happen, creation cannot sustain itself. And every day, thousands of billions, we have billions of cells, thousands, billions of cells are getting destroyed every day, and new cells. In 7 days, our whole body actually gets rejuvenated and replaced by new sets of cells. So death is constantly happening within us. Has our childhood not died? Our childhood has died. That's why we have become youths now. But are we sad about it? We didn't want to be youths. We want to be youths. Then similarly, youth also will die, and then we will attain old age. Similarly, old age also will die. We will attain a new birth. So this is the process. So somebody who sees it like this is not afraid. So Krishna says, see me in that. And Amrutatvam, the immortal feeling of not imperishable, that Atman also is me only. See me in both Sat, Asat. Just now I told Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. But at the same time, Jiva Brahmaiva Napara. That is the idea. Yes, it is false, but that falsity also is created by me only. So see me in that also. Like mother's love also is mother's, anger also is mother only. See me in both. Depends on situations. So try to see me in everything is what Krishna is trying to say. No other scripture, no religion, no philosophy talks like this. It's the only in Sanathana Dharma that such statements are made. He says, Traividya mam somapa puta papa yagye rishtva sargatim prarthayante. All those who do all the kinds of rituals, they read up all these Vedas and Karma Kandas, and 3 Vedas, they pull out all the Karma Kandic rituals and do worships all the time. For what sake? They become pure, definitely they become sinless, he says. After having received the prasadam of the yajnam, then they eat that or drink that soma rasa in the old time, that's how it was. They become pure. But what do they pray for? They pray for Swarga, to go to heaven. I don't want to go to hell, take me to heaven. That is the whole idea. But what happens? Te punyam asadhyam surendra lokam ashnati divyan divi deva bhogan. They go and enjoy the heaven. We have this concept of heaven. Even remember Nachiketa's father was wanting to go to heaven and enjoy life. But he was giving all bad cows. And by doing bad things, how can you attain good results? That was Nachiketa's problem. So Nachiketa goes to Yama and tells, my father wants to go to heaven and stay there for long. And Yama teaches him Trinecheketa Agni, that yajnam. So like these people strive for yajnas. Why? Because they want to go to heaven after death. And what happens there? They enjoy there, it seems. Modate swargaloke, it is said. You enjoy there. Nashna, pipasa, no hunger, no thirst, no problems that we experience over here. Everything is happy there. That is the idea. So people want to go there. So they say some people do all these kinds of things to go there. But what happens to them? After having enjoyed that, tetam dvuktva svargalokam vishalam shine punya martaloke vishanti. Once their credits, punya gets over, they again have to come back to same mrityuloka, this world only. This is the final exit. So this is the idea that, so don't run behind this swarga and things like that. He says, all these people, whatever they pray for, trayi dharma anuprapanna gatagatam kama kama labhante. They attain whatever they need to attain. But what they attain, gata agata, that which comes and goes. They don't attain permanent state, impermanent. So they will go to heaven, they will enjoy everything, but they will again fall down into the same earth. That's why I keep telling many of people here are yoga brashtas. They are all there in previous lives, done enough tapas punyam, but many of them also enjoyed the swarga or higher lokas. But what's the use? You're back again over here. It's like after a good summer holiday, you come back again to the class. So here the whole problem is I don't want to come back to the class. I want to graduate once for all and get rid of this whole problem of learning, unlearning. So that is why Krishna is encouraging him. So what should you do? There are people who worship me in so many ways. They do yajnas, they do read mantras, they go to do sadhana in the Himalayas. What is the easiest way? So sweet. Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Those who worship me continuously think of me, Ananya, with single pointed, continuously think of me. What happens? Paryupasate, not upasate. Upasana means just worshipping. Paryupasana means with a certain sense of surrender. It's a higher kind of upasana. See, we remember all kinds of devotees are there. Who are there? Jnani, Arti, Artarti, Jignasu. These are those Jnani Bhaktas, like Prahalada, who do not worship Lord for the sake of getting some material gains, like Dhruva or Nachiketa or Markandeya. Prahalada. So they remember me and worship me all the time. Tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. This is a declaration by Krishna. And God's words cannot fail. He says, those who do like this, what do I do for them? He says, nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. Always, at all times, I will look after their welfare. Yoga kshema. Yoga means procuring. And kshema means preserving, protecting. This is what we do in our lives. First we want to earn something, gain something, then we want to protect it. Whole life goes in this only. But Krishna says, don't you worry about all these things. Don't you run behind. I will take care of you. You become my responsibility. Your problems become my problem. You don't worry. Like a baby in mother's arms. Mother has to worry when the baby has to be fed what. Mother has to figure it out what the baby wants next. And mother makes all the efforts to take care of the baby. Baby makes no efforts. So if you become like a child, always thinking of your mother, you will become one with the divine, and the divine will look after all our material as well as spiritual needs. This is the simplest thing to do. Do you think all this is possible for us? Do karma kandas, jnana kandas, upasana kandas, forget all this. Simple, surrender. But surrender is not easy. I have seen people surrender on Monday, again surrender on Wednesday, again surrender on Sunday. So I know this surrender is not such a straight thing, because people keep tending to surrender every now and then. Like Mark Twain's joke is there. No, quitting smoking is very easy. I have quit it 100 times. Like that. I have surrendered 100 times. Surrender is very easy. No, surrender happens only once. Once you have surrendered, there is no going back and saying, now I am taking back everything. I will come back to you again and surrender once more. People very loosely use this word surrender. And whenever they tell me I have surrendered to you, I just smile within. I think this is what you told last visit also. What they can tell me is that I stay surrendered, that is okay. But you can't surrender again what already is mine. You're giving it back to me. It's not true. So this kind of surrender who develops, they become God's responsibility. That's why I tell our children, stop worrying about your future prospects. Stop worrying about what you learn, how will your parents live, what can you do for them. Just leave the responsibility to the Lord. Just become simple-hearted, surrendered instruments of the Lord and see how your life changes. And this I say with the authority of my own experience. This morning I was talking to one of the boys and I was telling why we made this education, higher education free. Because when we were studying, even though Amma was the sole breadwinner, with great difficulty getting educated, 3 children educated in higher education was not her cup of tea. I knew it. However, education was free in Puttaparthi, Vrindavan, so education part was looked after. But the hostel part was not looked after there. Even to pay us something as meager as 5,000 rupees a semester, or sometimes it's 7,500 with deficits, was a humongous task. Fortunately, there were scholarships from the government where she was working, and that helped us to survive through this whole thing. Otherwise, it was not possible. But today, once you have completely surrendered to the divine, your material and spiritual needs both are looked after. Once upon a time, this is a simple private thing I'm sharing with you. We had been to Kanyakumari. There, this Vivekananda rock is there, Vivekananda Memorial Rock. Some of you might have seen. And Vivekananda had a very tough life. You see, he was born in a rich family, but they became poor. Once his father died, they were on roads. And it seems that mother and sister had only one sari. So if mother comes out, sister won't come out. If sister comes out, then mother can't come out because they will wrap the same sari around and come out. That was the poverty and penury. And some king used to give some sponsorship, and that's how they were surviving. So when I went to Vivekananda Memorial, I was standing in front of that big statue of Swami Vivekananda, very majestic. And suddenly the statue spoke to me. He was there in spirit. And he looked at all around and said, "Is this your family?" And that time, yes, I used to call them as a family. Now whole world is my family. But then I said, "Yes." "Is this your mother?" I said, "Yes." Then he said, "See, the way your guru has looked after your family, my guru did not look after." What could I say to such a great jnani? I just was spellbound, I was dumbstruck, I was just silent. So well God looks after you if you just surrender. And He gives you happiness both of the material world and all the greater spiritual world, Iha Para. And I've heard Narasimhamurti speak any number of times how God has looked after his family of 11 children. Everybody's settled well and he's the happiest, he's got a purpose and nothing lacks in the lives. Don't own anything, yet everything belongs to you. You have no family members to call your own, but whole world becomes your family. And what a redeeming life that is. You have to be that to know that. That's how I can say. You can't imagine also the joy of our lives. You have to be that. So somebody who lives like this, I know this shloka is 100% true. And I am the living example of this shloka. 100% true it is. And if anybody else wants to try this out, please try it out. You will never be disappointed. So, ananyāścintayantoma. This is the power of surrender. This is the power of one-pointed devotion. This is the power of complete instrumentation. The Lord takes over all your responsibility. There's a beautiful poem, somewhere it was written, there are 2 sets of footprints on the sand. We all know that. At one point in time, there is only one set of footprints. The devotee said, "Lord, did you desert me during my most difficult times?" Then the Lord said, "No, that set of footprints that you see, they are mine. I was carrying you." That is the story of a surrendered devotee. And that's why I'm so very enamored, so very appreciative of this shloka of Krishna. Of course, it comes with one T&C terms and conditions, which is ananyāścintayantoma. Think of me all the time. Don't beg around from others for your welfare. I will take care, give it to me, the responsibility, give charge to me and I will take charge of your life. Please learn this, and all you people who are here and those who will listen to it later, this shloka is the essence of true devotion, true faith. Anybody who does that, whichever Lord you worship, whichever form you worship, whichever name you worship, that particular name form will respond to your prayer and look after you. I move on to this. The Krishna also goes to say, ye api anya devata bhakta yante shraddhayanvita tepi mameva kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvakam. People who remember or pray to other gods also, they also worship me only at the end. but not in a proper vidhi, not in a proper way. What does he mean? Suppose you have some problem, go to the head of that department. If you go to the clerk and the chaprasi, he is not going to solve your problem. So approach me in the right way, Krishna is saying. Approach the Supreme in the right way. Go to the minister if there is a problem. Don't go to the clerk. Clerk will take everything and won't do the work also. Now, I'm not sure of ministers too, but idea is to go to the person who is responsible for it, who can do it. Why go and waste your time running behind all kinds of devatas and this and that? A lot of type of devotions are there. You might know that some people go to all kinds of small and big soothsayers and things like that, and all kinds of demigods, and we have plenty in India. Gods are more than the population. That is the way it is. But why do we go and worship? For silly petty things we go and worship. Krishna says, just directly reach out to that Supreme. Why do you go here and then waste your time? So that is the idea, that you reach out. That doesn't mean that everybody starts writing emails to me now. In the ashram, there is a protocol, there are departments, they look after everything. Please write to them. No, I will reach out. You taught me. Reach out straight to the Supreme. Then my email will be flooded. Already it's getting flooded. So remember, that idea is that is not the right way to worship me, saying Krishna. Don't go for your petty, silly desires to small gods here and there. That is also okay. At least you are on the path. You are not an atheist. That is better than not being devoted at all. But that's not right way. Then he goes, Ahami sarva yajnanam. Why? Because I am only everything. Bhokta cha prabhureva cha. I only preside over all the yajnas. I am only the enjoyers of all your efforts. So come directly to me, he says. Natu mam abhijananti tatvena atah chavanti te. He says, those who do not know me properly, they are the one who fall down. They go for silly things. They get that desire fulfilled. Again, new desire arises. Then they go fulfilling that desire. And this life goes on like that. But once for all, if you come to me, I'll give you that yoga kshema vahamyam. You don't have to run behind anything. How powerful is this declaration? Is this assurance? And what he says, yanti devavrata devan prityayanti pitravrata bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti madhyajinopi mam. Some people worship small devatas for their benefits. Some people go to pitrus. Pitru yajnas we do, to our ancestors. We want their blessings to get through some problem. Then some people go to bhutas. Bhutas mean these ghosts and goblins are there. These disembodied souls are there. Many of these Vamapagam, this Tantra is there. A lot of people invoke spirits and try to get their work done through those spirits. These are all, he says, those who worship whichever way, they will go to those destinations only. If you run behind these gods, demigods, you will end up with them. If you run behind ancestors, you will end up in Pitraloka. If you run behind these ghosts and goblins and try to control them and use them for your things, you will only be in their company. But those who worship me as the Supreme, they will come to me. That is what exactly he is saying. So don't be deluded by all these siddhis and all these kinds. Many children write, Swami, I had this premonition, I had this intuition, this happened. Is this spiritual progress? I tell them, no, these are all milestones. It may happen, may not happen. But that doesn't define your spiritual progress. The siddhis are not spiritual progress. Don't you run behind these things. At least these upasakas of Kali and all that are there. Especially in Nepal and West Bengal and that side. Heavily people are invested in these kind of rituals. All these animal sacrifices, human sacrifices. I don't know what they're trying to attain. But they all believe that that is the only way. They're so convinced about it. Whereas Krishna here says, yes, you are convinced you will attain that, because whatever you have put efforts towards you, that is what you will attain. But don't run into these lanes and by-lanes. Go straight, take the royal route, Raja Vidya, Yoga. Come straight to me. Don't go stuck into these lanes, by-lanes, is what Krishna is telling them. And this is one of the most beautiful shloka as towards we reaching the end. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yomat bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakyupahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Give me a flower, a fruit, a leaf, or little water, but give it to me with bhakti, with pure love. Bhakti is not just for the sake of getting a favor from God. It is pure love. In bhakti you only give. There is no getting in bhakti. There is only giving in bhakti. Love lives by giving, not by getting. Self lives by getting. So love for God should be to offer to God, not to seek something from God. That should be the idea of bhakti. And he says, whoever does that, even if they offer a flower, a fruit, or leaf, or anything, Out of bhakti, again he says, out of bhakti only I accept it, otherwise I won't accept it. I'll reject it. And I always say patram means this body is the patram, leaf. Pushpam is hridaya pushpam, our heart is the flower, without thorns of lust and desires. Then phalam, all our karma phala, results of our actions are the fruits. And toyam, the water, is not from the rivers. It is the tears that flow out of devotion to the Lord. That is the water that I seek from you. Not the tears that are flow because we are in trouble. But tears that ananda bashpalo, out of bliss, with that, when we remember the Lord, we feel so blissful. And that's when we shed tears. Those tears are loved by the Lord because they are born out of devotion. So give me anything with devotion, I'll accept it. Krishna would go and even steal things from Gopika's houses, butter. Why? Because he would say, and Yashoda would scold, I am the head woman of the village and we have enough butter at home. Why do you go and steal from those poor people? Their livelihood it is. He would say, your butter is full of attachment. You think you're the mother and I'm the child and you're feeding me as a duty. Their butter is full of love, bhakti. I love that butter. Butter's taste is not different. But what is Krishna looking for? Pure love. That's why many times great singers and artists come here, some of our musicians know. I have to really tolerate them. Because they're playing with ego, I cannot take it. It is just, just not to be rude to them. They're atithi and we have to be kind to them. But our children sometimes they sing with pure devotion. It touches my heart. They may not be great artists, they may not be so accomplished, but they touch my heart. But when I see artists doing gimmicks on the stage to impress the audience and not to please the Lord, I'm not happy. That is why I love Tyagaraja. I love these great saints, Purandaradasa, Kanakadasa, name it. Their compositions are so pure. Mirabai, Tukaram, Namdev, Gyanadev. Beautiful compositions because they've come from purity. They didn't come to collect claps and cash. They did only to please the Lord. In the process, whatever happened, Yogakshemam Vahamyam, it happened for them. And they were happy with whatever happened. They didn't demand. It should have been a little more. That should not be the way. Once a child wrote to God, God, I have to pay my fee. I need 40 rupees. So he went and gave the letter to the postman. To God from so and so. Then postman thought, what does this boy want? So he opened the letter and read the letter. He said, I want 40 rupees, God, for paying my school fee. Please send it as soon as possible. This is my address. So postman thought out of love, papam. Pure boy, innocent boy. So but he checked his pocket, he had only 20 rupees. So he put 20 rupees and kept it. And next day when the boy came, he said, did the letter come from God? He said, yes, here is your reply. He opened, he saw 20 rupees. He said, God, I think you sent 40 rupees. This postman has taken 20 rupees out of it. Send me 20. Idea is, all I'm trying to say that when we don't demand from God, you see. We just pray and whatever He gives, 20, 40, 10, nothing, perfectly okay. When God gives, He knows this is right for you. When He does not give, He knows something better is waiting for you. He tells you wait, it means there is more time before you should give. Any answer from God is right answer only. No wrong answers from God. It may not be what we want, but any answer from God is right answer only. No is also right, yes is also right, wait is also right. No, nothing comes, silence is also right at that point in time. So remember this, and with that kind of bhakti and surrender we must have. Above all bhaktis, as I said, Satvasmin parama prema rupa amrita swarupacha yam labdva puman siddho bhavati amrito bhavati trupto bhavati. Become satisfied in the bhakti only. Not because he gained something out of bhakti, that's why he is not satisfied. He is satisfied because whatever has come his way, he is happy with it. That kind of satisfaction, that kind of complete happiness is attained by a true bhakta. All others will always struggle with bhakti because they'll think, I did not get enough favor from the God, others got. So what Krishna says that even if you don't have patra pushpa phalam toyam, what you can do, yat karoshi yad dashnasi yad juoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushu madarpan. Whatever you do, eat, whatever efforts you put, whatever you give, whatever austerities you perform, just do it for my sake. Can we not do this much if you don't have time to meditate, if you don't have time to do pujas, if you don't have time to visit temples or read scriptures? Anything that you do, do it for my sake. And why it should do it for my sake? Very simple. Shubha Shubha Phalairaiva Mokshase Karma Bandhana. This will redeem you from all the results of those actions. Because you have dedicated it to me. See, the best way to get rid of karmas is, one, you realize your divinity. So everything happens under a great divine will, you have no sense of doership. Two, develop instrumentation. I am an instrument of God, God performs through me. But that requires some bit of surrender. We just talked about surrender and its complications. Third level, even simpler than that, Krishna is saying, just dedicate everything to me at the end of the day. You think you are only the doer. Because of you only it has happened, no problem. But at the end of the day, Krishna Arpadamastu, I dedicate, offer all these things to you, good, bad, ugly, whatever has happened through me. That also is good enough. Can there be a more lenient God than this, you tell me? He is not insisting you realize yourself, only then you will be redeemed from your karmas. Two, he is not even saying be an instrument. If you can't be that, minimum you can do is just offer everything to me. You study, say, Swami, this is for you. Whatever comes out of it, I will be happy. I will put my effort and I dedicate it to you. This dedication to God is the simplest way of getting rid of our karmas. Can we not even do this much is the whole question. But the problem is when good things happen, we want to take credit. It's very difficult to say it's because of God. When something goes wrong, God's wish, so this is how it is. Even angry with God. This is not the right attitude. When the son gets a gold medal, my son. When son fails in the exam, your son. Husband to wife. Now, this is not the way to treat God. God, good also is because of you, bad also is because of you. Everything is because of you. I simply dedicate all my actions. Yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat juhosi, dadasi. How beautiful. That's why I'm so enamored by Bhagavad Gita. I did not read it so deeply earlier. Now because I have to teach, I have to learn. And that is making me feel that the Vakya is true. What's the need of reading anything else if you read Bhagavad Gita? But you cannot read Bhagavad Gita on your own. Let me warn you or caution you. You will misunderstand it. You will misinterpret it. You need to read with a guru. That's why in our culture, guru is so important. Shastras, you should not just pick up and read just because it is in Sanskrit language and you know Sanskrit. No. You have to be learning it under the tutelage of a guru. That's how Shastras should be studied, not on your own. Everybody cannot be Eklavya. You must surrender to a guru and learn. So what he says, all the good, bad that comes out of your actions, completely I redeem you from that bondage. Why? Because you dedicated it to me. See, doctors are doing surgery. Sometimes they're very scared. They write to me, this case is too complicated. Please work through me. And I tell them, don't worry. Just do your best and leave the rest to me. Just offer it at the end. Sometimes children, though our mortality rates are very, very low, international standard, yet sometimes we lose children. What happens? The doctors are crestfallen. They feel responsible for it. I keep telling them, you are not responsible. When good operations you are able to dedicate to me, bad operations also you dedicate to me only. Why do you take responsibility for anything? Give both to me. I will handle it. You don't handle it. Then you will be free. But you must do your best. It should not happen that you don't do any efforts and say, God, you take care. That is not going to happen. One step you take, 10 steps I will take. First step is from your side. So that effort you put, sannyasa yo yuktatma vimukto mamupeshyasi. You will become a sannyasi, not the one who wears orchid robes and long hair, but the sannyasi who is freed from all attachments of doership and enjoyership. And you will become free. And what happens then? You reach me. How do you reach me? Not outside, inside. You feel that divinity within, and that's how you reach me within. So simple. Can't develop self-realization? No problem. Become an instrument. Can't even become an instrument, surrendered instrument, become the doer, but dedicate everything to me. And that's enough. I will free you from all your bondages. Can it get any simpler than this is my question? Even that we fail to do. And he says, see, people think I am partial to some people, I am favorable to some. It's not true. Because some people worship and they get results immediately. Some people have to wait forever. Especially among the students it happens. Swami is not calling me. Swami is not talking to me. I am also equally devoted and all things like that. But what does Krishna say? Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dreshosti na priyaha. I am not partial to anybody. I am equal to all. All beings, good, bad, everybody I am equal to. I have no hatred towards anybody, nor I love anybody more than others. Then what else happens? Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mahite teshu chamyam. Whoever worships me with pure devotion. Remember, bhakti is not impure desires, full of devotion, full of desires. It's desireless devotion. The one who has it, he is me and I am him, he says. There is no difference between us. like the Gopikas became one with Krishna in their devotion. That is the kind of devotion the one who has. How can he ever need me separately from him? He will feel me within all the time. There is no separate need for meeting or talking because they will feel me inside. That is the idea. He says, I am equal to all. Apiche sudaracharo bhajante mam ananya bhag sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavastito hisa. He says, even the worst of the sinners, if they remember me and worship me single-pointedly, what happens? I consider them as sadhus, saints only. Even though they have been great sinners in the past, even now if they take to this path and remember me and surrender to me, I redeem them. They become saints to me. Why? Because their mind has now finally found the right way. Valmiki is the best example, isn't it? He did all kinds of sins, finally took to chanting Rama's name and surrendered to Rama. And look at what it became. A hunter became a rishi. And we read his Ramayana. So that is the power of bhakti. What kind of bhakti? Surrender. Surrendered bhakti, not transactional bhakti, not the arti artati jignasu bhakti. Jnani bhakti is this kind of bhakti. And it is the way even the worst of the sinners can be redeemed. We have enough examples, but don't be too sure because you may not be able to remember after committing all the sins. Don't think like Ajamila towards the end, somehow I'll remember God and He'll redeem me. No, Ajamila is just to encourage people. But that's not the way it happens because the one who has not remembered God all his life, it is highly impossible that they will remember God in the last moment. In fact, last moments is when they cannot remember all the more because of all the physical ailments, issues, property issues, and other various issues. They will not be able to remember God. They'll remember some lawyer or doctor and die remembering them and become born again as a lawyer or a doctor maybe. But that is the issue with not remembering God all the time. He again, very beautiful assurance, Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat chanti nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Another declaration of Krishna. This is like sixers after sixers, in this. What he says, Shipram bhavati dharmatma. Soon that person who surrenders to me becomes a dharmatma. Even if he is duratma, suduracharo, worst of the worst sinners, he also becomes a dharmatma soon, not late. How? And what happens? Shashvat shanti nigacchati. He immediately attains permanent peace by surrendering to me. He attains permanent peace. Kaunteya pratijanahi, O son of Kunti, declare it. Let everybody know. What? Name bhakta pranashyati. The one who devotes himself to me will never be destroyed, will never come to ruin. What a wonderful declaration. But again, precondition, name bhakta. If you are that kind of devotee alone, you can draw this kind of grace. I always say, you can take only so much water as is your vessel, not more, not less. So it depends on your vessel, depends on your bhakti that you enjoy divine grace. And what is bhakti? Bhakti is not about asking things from God. Bhakti is simply loving God for what God is. That's it. There is no reason or season for bhakti. That bhakti the one develops it never comes to a ruin. You take any example from anywhere, and I said I am a living example. Nobody comes to ruin if they have surrendered to the divine. Last one, second last, I think. Mam hi partha vipashritya yepi syuh papa yonayoha striyo vaishyas tatha shudras tepi yanti param gatim. Little controversial shloka, but I would explain to you. It says, those who surrender to me and depend on me, even if they are born in lower wombs or lower life forms. Example, they might be born in a criminal's house, in a thief's house, thug's house. It could be in the house of some bad person. What is their fate then? Because they are unfortunately born in wrong places. They can't certainly attain this. But Prahlada attained Narayana. How? By same bhakti. Those who depend on me, surrender to me, even if they are born in lower births, even then I attain them. And a few words there, don't misunderstand. He says, Striyo, even if they are born as women, Vaishyas means those who are born as business class people, business-minded people. Shudras, those who are born in labor class people, they also attain me, he says. Why does he say like this? Those who are born in a sinful family, or born as a woman, or born as a business Vaishya Varna, or born in Shudra Varna. Because this knowledge was not accessible to Striyas, Vaishyas and Shudras in the past. See, always look at everything from the point of view of Desha Kala Parasthiti, time, place and situations. This kind of knowledge was not available to other than Brahmins in those days who were given this kind of knowledge. It was not available to everybody easily, especially to women. They were not going to the higher education like this. Some basic education was given to them. Because the culture was like that, so he is telling, even those who did not have access to all these karma kanda, yajna kanda and all kinds of things, by bhakti they can attain me, see. So it's a shortcut. You don't have to read all the subject, just few important questions. And you will pass, and you will not only pass, you will get highest marks too, because you have bhakti. So even if you are a dull-headed student, if you are a disinterested student, even if you are a student who has not attended most of the classes, if you surrender to the teacher, sir, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ questions ಹೇಳಿ sir. And if sir takes mercy, pity on you and tells you, okay, study these 10 questions. See, you saved all the unnecessary efforts. Likewise, I'm just joking, but don't do this to your sirs. So he says, Krishna says, even if you are a businessman people are always thinking about money, they don't think about God. In God also, they'll think, what can I get out of this God? Venkataramana Swami, Balaji is the best example. All business people go there. And what is the pact? I'm starting a new business, Balaji wine shop. In that, 10% share for you, 90% share for me. Please make sure that all people become drunkard in your name. But people do all these kinds of businesses in their names. Why this Vaishya Buddhi is like that? They always want money. In everything, in God also, they'll try to see what money I can get out of God. What is the use of such bhakti? Even such people can attain me, he says. Purandar Das, Maha Kanjus. He attained the divine. Then Shudra Stepi. Shudra means the lower caste. See, again, don't get into the controversy of this is lower, higher. Idea is that there was one set of people in the society who by nature were workforce, the labor class. Even if you put them in a class, they won't study anything. Even if you teach them business, they will make mistakes. But they are very good with their bodies and they will work hard and serve the society. They were also important. But they did not have access to this kind of intellectual knowledge, nor they had the aptitude for it. Even they, if they surrendered to me, they received me. Kanakadasa is there an example. They say Krishna turned around to see him. When he went for darshan, he was denied darshan because he was from a lower caste. In Udupi, the Krishna turned around to give him darshan. Kanakanakindi, there's the crack in the wall, the hole in the wall of the temple through which Kanakadasa saw Krishna. Till today, devotees go there, do pradakshina, go to that Kanakanakindi and try to see from there. So idea is that anybody can attain me with bhakti, such a sure-shot method. But bhakti is not transactional, it is surrender. And then he says, Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajarashayas tatha anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. He says, if such people also can attain me so easily, what to talk about those who are born in good families, who have access to this knowledge, and like brahmanas, and those who are punya bhaktas, good devoted families they are born into, and rajarishis, those who are kings, but with the mind of a rishi. Janaka-like people. They will anyways easily attain me through this path. Even it is for those who are not born in such favorable situations, they also can attain me. Then what to talk about those who are born in favorable situations? Now what should I tell about our students in these institutions? You can attain this knowledge so very easily because you are in the right place. Even if you were born in wrong families, you ended up in the right place. You are a girl or a boy, it doesn't matter to me. Everybody gets to know this knowledge equally. You are Indian or foreigner, it doesn't matter to me. Everybody gets to know this knowledge equally. You are in which class of employee, doesn't matter to me. You still get to know this knowledge from me. What a wonderful opportunity. Should we waste it at all is the question. So he says finally, Anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. This world is full of temporariness and sorrow, misery. Therefore, give up this pursuit of the world and rather remember me all the time, because that's when you'll attain Shashvat Shantini Gacchati. You will attain permanent peace. Somebody comes and tells me, this is the problem at home. Somebody else says, this is the problem with my mother. Some says, my father is sick. Some says, my aunt is like this. My cousin is like that. I keep hearing this all the time. And this is nothing new to me. That's why I told the other day, in this world, if you face problems, then accept it, because this is how the world has been designed. If you don't face problems, then you should be surprised that what is going on. Otherwise, generally, this world is full of problems and misery, and you are supposed to be miserable only in this world. So there is no surprise in that. That's how the world has been created. So if you have miseries in life, just accept it, because that is how it has been created. And everything is temporary. Fortunately, all the miseries are also temporary. It means another misery will come after this. Now everything is temporary. The only permanent thing in this world is devotion to divine. That alone can save us from all this nonsense. So don't run behind the world. These are mirages that you're chasing. Nothing will come to you at the end. moga asha, moga karmana, everything will be moga, waste, in vain. This is what Krishna is telling. And final advice to Arjuna in this chapter is Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktaiva atmanam matparayanaha. He says, "O Arjuna, so what should you do? Do this. Dedicate your mind to me. Don't think of other things. Then Mad Bhakto, you become my devotee. Devotee means completely surrendered to me. Madhyaji, worship me in all places at all times. Mam Namaskuru, surrender to me. Namaha means no ego. Egolessly you become my devotee. Mame Veshyasi, you will reach me only. Why? Because you become Yuktatpana. You have become perfect in this process of surrender, worship, and constant remembrance of me. Once you perfect this method, then you will reach me because you are completely matparayana, you are completely dedicated, devoted to me. There is no other way. This is the essence of Jnana Vidya Yoga. Isn't it quite simple? Then now try it out. When you go back, yad karoshi, yadashnasi, yad juhosi, dadasi yad. Try it out that every action, every thought and word and deed, dedicate it to the Lord. Then what will happen, after some time you realize most of them are not even dedicatable, not even offerable to God. It means what? You have to change your nature. The way you think, speak, and whatever you do, you have to change. Why? Because this can't be offered to the Lord. It's not worth offering. No, patram pushpam phalam toyam, anything chalta hai, we can offer anything with bhakti. That is not bhakti. What you're trying to do? You're giving soiled notes, counterfeit coins to God in temple, donating and thinking you're a donor. No, He won't accept it. He knows. Therefore, don't try to fool Lord. And now go back and check what kind of your thought, words and actions are there even worth offering to the divine. If not, then change yourself, because divine is not going to change. That is the way you will start progressing spiritually. See, there is a trick in what Krishna said. He will purify your intellect. He will purify your thought process. He will purify your actions. How? By teaching you to dedicate everything to Him. And you will feel so ashamed and say, this is something I cannot. The last fight I had with my husband or wife, how can I dedicate that to the divine? It was so silly and so egoistic on my part. That last selfish thought I had, it is so terrible, I can't dedicate it to the divine. The last time I did not work with all my heart, I cannot dedicate that work to the divine. Then you will realize you have to perfect yourself in everything. You have to purify yourself in everything. That is where to your spiritual progress. So it's not so straight. What Krishna said, He meant this, that He'll help you become purer. In that purity you will realize divinity. Therefore dedicate everything to me. Isn't it simple? It's a jnana, what you call guhyam, secretive knowledge. But at the same time I told it is open secret. But it will remain secret even after listening to it if you don't realize it. That is the whole thing. It will still remain a secret. That's the only way to do this, is to realize this knowledge, and it requires purity. If you dedicate everything to the Lord, you have to purify yourself, and that in that purity you realize your divinity, and you are freed from this cycle of birth and death. You can live in this world, the world will not live in you. You will enjoy the world will not enjoy you. And you will be ever happy, permanently peaceful. This is the benefit of attaining this knowledge. I've taken some time to explain because this is one of the very core of Bhagavad Gita. The center, even shloka wise, as I said, the chapter wise also it comes in the middle of Bhagavad Gita. But this is such a simple chapter, yet it is so deep and profound. And the declarations Krishna is giving one after the other, it is so reassuring to anybody. Even if you're worst of the sinner, you never thought of God, you never did anything good in your life, start now. It's never too late on the spiritual path. What an assurance. I will consider you as a good person, I'll accept you, redeem you. Who can say like this? Other than the Lord Himself, other than the Supreme. And what love and what compassion in those statements. That itself should make us love God for the compassion that He has for us, for the love that He has for us. So this is the way we must read Bhagavad Gita, by practicing it constantly. This is theory. Put it practically into practice in your daily life and see. I want to dedicate everything to God. My brushing, bathing, wearing clothes, reading, walking, talking, working, sleeping, eating, smelling, breathing, touching, tasting, smelling. I want to dedicate it to the Lord. And see how many unnecessary things will drop away from your life. If you are sincere, dridhavrataha, if you are determined, and yatataha, and person who is ready to put efforts. If you are not, then this chapter is not for you. Ashrata danas, they don't attain me, he says. It is a waste. mogasha, moga karmana, moga, everything is waste then. So please put some sincere efforts. As I said, you are very fortunate to have already come in the satsanga, in a place like this, in this ashram like this, studying here amidst good people who are always teaching you good things. There is very little scope to do bad here because everybody is so good, everything is so good. In this place, if you can't realize divinity, where else will you realize? And when will you realize if you not now? So therefore, I keep on insisting, please put efforts, please put efforts on this spiritual path. It's never too late. Start even now. This is okay. But please put efforts. Prayatno videyaha.